Hi guys! Today I'm going to do a spoiler-free review of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I saw last week on Thursday and Friday, part 1 on Thursday, part 2 on Friday. To summarise, I loved it, I thought it was amazing, and now I'm going to talk about it in more detail. So I wanted to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because I am a massive Harry Potter fan, and I think to get the most out of this play, you need to be a massive Harry Potter fan. I don't think you necessarily need to read all the books or watch all the films beforehand. I didn't. But I think that if you remember the story pretty well, you're going to have a better time with this play. I think you'll also enjoy it if you're not a massive fan. I think that if you just, enjoyed the films, for instance, like most of my family members, you would still enjoy watching the play. Although I don't think you would get as much out of it emotionally as you would if you are a big fan. I honestly think that if you didn't like the books, you didn't like the film, or you haven't seen them, then you should give this one a miss. You won't get anything out of it, you won't really even understand what's going on. It does require that prior knowledge, as it picks up right from where the last book and last film left off. I think that being a fan of Harry Potter predisposes you in a lot of ways to like this play. It's not like going to see a play that you have no emotional connection with. You are not going to be able to have a truly objective point of view. And I don't think that you're really supposed to with this play, because it is very much a creation for fans of Harry Potter. It has its target audience, it knows what its target audience wants, and I think it delivers. I, for one, walked in expecting to love it, and I wasn't wrong. Even if I hadn't had loads of messages from friends who had been the previous week or the week before who had seen it, I would still have been expecting to really enjoy it and get a lot out of it. I was looking forward to seeing the characters again, and it was great to see them. I won't tell you which ones are in the story. In fact, I recommend that if you're going to see it, or you're going to just read the script book, you don't look at the cast list beforehand. I mean, there's some characters we all know are going to be in it. Beyond that, I for one did not know what characters were going to be in it, so it was really exciting when they turned up, and I think that's the best way to see it. I would actually recommend going to see the play with no knowledge of what's going to happen. Now, this is going to be incredibly difficult, I know. Once the script book comes out, I expect there to be spoilers flying everywhere, because this is the internet, and that's just what happens. But for me, it was a really wonderful experience being there in the theatre with an audience who also didn't know what was going to happen. So everybody's gasping together, sighing together, laughing together. It was just amazing. And I know that it's not going to carry on being like that, because people are going to go see the play who have read the book and or have seen spoilers on the internet. But still, personally, when you're watching it, you could go in not having any idea of what's going to happen. The plot is very twisty and turny, and I liked being surprised. Unfortunately, I can't be very critical of the plot in this review because, spoilers! There are a couple of things which I would like to discuss in more detail, but I won't be doing it here. I'll just be doing it with my friends who have seen the play. You don't even know for sure that the script book will spoil the plot details when it comes out, because it is the rehearsal edition, so maybe they might have left some stuff out. Who knows? It'll be exciting to read it when I get my hands on my copy and find out. What I can say about the play is that the stage mechanics were awesome. They definitely took full advantage of everything that theatre has to offer in terms of the physicality and the effects and the staging. I know a lot of people, when it was announced, were like, why does it have to be a play? Why can't they just make another film? And I think that they really went out of their way to make sure that it really delivers as that 3D immersive experience. I'm afraid I can't really comment on the acting because I was sat in the balcony, and so I couldn't see the actors' faces as I was so far away from the stage. However, I did like the way that all the characters were played, and I felt that some of the actors had clearly based their portrayals on the way the characters were played in the films, which was interesting and meant that there was some continuity between the films and the play. I really liked seeing what the characters have been up to in the intervening years between the books and the play. It was really great to find out that some of the characters have been doing exactly what I had been hoping they were doing, so I was giving myself lots of imaginary high fives throughout out. The music was strange. I knew going in that Imogen Heap was the composer. I quite like Imogen Heap. I have listened to her music a lot. However, I was surprised to hear music that sounded almost exactly like a couple of her songs during parts of the play. There was a bit which sounded exactly like the kind of tinkly bit in Aha, and a bit which sounded like Headlock, and it was a bit distracting, to be honest, and I kind of think it was a shame that they didn't have her compose original music for the play. I don't know how it really worked, you know, whether they just kind of decided they wanted to take bits of those tracks, or whether she was asked to write music for the play or what. But it was a bit distracting, because then I was kind of thinking, oh, that's that track, and then kind of getting that song in my head as a result. And so personally, I think I would have preferred it if the music had been original and hadn't reminded me so obviously of something else. However, that said, after part 1 I did go home and then spend all of Friday before part 2 listening to Imogen Heap, so I didn't dislike it that much. It's just, as I said, I found it a bit distracting, to be honest. On to the theatre itself. The Palace Theatre is an old theatre, and it has old theatre size seats with old theatre size legroom, aka not very much of it, and if you are reasonably tall you'll find it a bit uncomfortable. Your knees will probably be banging the seat in front of you a bit if you're not careful. Please be careful and don't annoy the people sitting in front of you. However, if you're used to going to the theatre in London, it won't be anything out of the ordinary, to be honest. There are a lot of theatres in London that have these tiny seats, unless you only go to more newly built theatres, or theatres where they've refurbished the seats completely, taken them out and replaced them with seats with modern amounts of legroom, like the Hackney Empire. You know, it's not going to be anything new to you. The view from the seats I was in the balcony was mostly okay. I think if I had been further back it would have been a lot worse, but I could see almost everything that was going on. There were a couple of times where the actors moved too close to the front of the stage and I couldn't see them, but I think that was just twice, and I could work out what was going on from the context and the audience reaction, so it was fine. There was a bit at the end which was kind of spoiled a little bit by the fact that I couldn't see, but it's not the end of the world. Now, would you like to see what items I bought in the shop? If you don't want merch spoilers, stop right now. Bye, thank you for watching. If you would like to see what merch I got, continue. Right, so the first thing I got were these Keep the Secret badges, which they actually give you as you're leaving. I think this is part 1 and this is part 2. They hand these out at the end. I don't think this is the most amazing programme I've ever had in my life, I will say that. It's £5, which is quite a lot of money for something that's not very long, and has a lot of adverts in it. But it's cool. I think when you're buying a programme, really what you're doing is supporting the theatre. You're not buying it for the contents inside particularly. There's a couple of interesting things in it, but I wouldn't say that it's a must-have. I think it's a nice souvenir, but it's not a must-have. I didn't look at it until after I'd seen part 2, just in case I got spoiled by the cast list. Like I said earlier in the video, I avoided the cast list so that I wouldn't know what characters were going to be in it. And yeah, I would recommend that if you don't want to be spoiled by the cast list, you don't look at this still afterwards. I also got this Cursed Child pin, which I think is quite nice. This one was £3.95. It was House Pride. I got a Ravenclaw badge, which I also think is quite nice. These are both pin badges. I got a Ravenclaw patch, which I think might have cost less than the badges, but it doesn't have a price on the back. It just has a copyright notice about the artwork. I think this is an iron-on patch, but probably I'll sew it on as well, because I don't trust iron-on patches. They will fall off eventually. You must sew them on to be on the safe side. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more from me and the other Bookish Brits, you can click the subscribe button. If you want to see more from me in particular, then you can subscribe to my own channel as well. The link is in the description box. Let me know in the comments if you're coming to see the play in London, if you're hoping that the play comes to a city near you, if you're going to read the script book instead or as well. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, although I will try not to put spoilers in the comments below, so this can continue to be a spoiler-free zone. You'll see me again in a couple of weeks. Bye!